Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine. We review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing The Nanny, or just Nanny. There's no V in it. Nanny, yeah. Streaming on Prime Video right now, so this will be interesting. All right, with me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Well, how would you feel if you just found out that you had the wrong size orifice?
Oh my God.
I strained?
This is not what you think. This has to do with gas.
All right. All right. Yes. Yes.
It's
Jeff.
like furnace.
Face
Like
just
It
gets
took you how many episodes?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing? We'll explain all that here shortly.
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous.
Don't know what has happened to Jeff, and Christopher's face is still stuck in it. Are you frozen, Christopher? Are you frozen?
Let's find out. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
Is that a joke saying something's artsy fartsy? Is that what's happening?
No.
That would be funny, though. Okay.
It wasn't. It had nothing to do with it.
I don't remember flatulence in this review.
having trouble with our furnace, so it was a real life.
Oh, okay. I thought
like you're like literally on your furnace. Oh, wait, but you're getting that storm.
Yeah,
it's getting ready to
is it
storm
fixed?
of this.
Is it okay? I'm serious. Like, is it fit? That actually.
Yeah. No, we have. We're good. It's just not. It's not 100%. It's probably 80%.
That's really bad.
They can't figure it out. Their latest idea is we have the wrong size orifice. Truly.
Okay, well, I figured that's actually after you said that, but you're getting into temperatures of like -11 and stuff, aren't you?
That's a wind chill.
Right. Well, it warmed up.
No.
Yeah,
That's
not that anybody wants to know any of this, but it got up to.
Yes. There. Have you not looked like up like he is Iowa, and then Dave too in Ohio.
It got up to inside the house. It got up to 65 today, but it's but that's all the warm
blizzard.
Really get.
I know that. I know they're getting those.
I know.
That's scary.
We got a neighbor.
You have a neighbor?
Hey, neighbor.
That would let us come.
I don't like that.
No, he literally has a neighbor.
How big's your neighbor's orifice?
Yeah, but only one.
They must have a.
We've gotten rid of the
regulation size orifice.
My cat has the wrong size orifice too, but that's a different story.
Wow, this is
all right. Let's get into our review of Nanny.
Yep.
Yes, what we're going to do is not tell jokes and talk about orphans anymore, or maybe we will.
It's more entertaining than the movie.
Oh, wow. Don't lead. All right, what we're going to do is start off giving you our first impressions. Those will be spoiler-free. Then we'll dive into a discussion, and that discussion we'll get into spoilers. There's not too many here, but we'll tap on them. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do like it, please hit the subscribe, like, and share with a friend button, or one of the three. It doesn't take all of them. And help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. We're doing really good. You guys are making the effort. I can see it. Thank you all so much. But only you can help us do it. They won't let us do it. You got to do it for us. All right, let's get into the card and get this ball rolling and get that wrong size orifice taste out of our mouth. Okay. All right, Nanny.
God.
Nanny. Prime Video. Available streaming beginning December 16th, 2022. Synopsis: Immigrant Nanny Aisha, piecing together a new life in New York City while caring for a child in Upper East Side family, is forced to confront a concealed truth that threatens to shatter her precarious American dream. Written and directed by Nikyatu Jusu. I mispronounced that, but I think that's close. Stars Anna Diop, Michelle Monaghan, and Sinqua Walls. And let's get into it. Ba-ding. Start us off Crystal Cleveland, what was your first impression of Nanny?
Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying that the cinematography is great. There was some shots I really liked. They had some longer, still shots, and I mean, that's an artistic choice, and I think it worked for this film. I think the acting was phenomenal. I didn't have a single problem with any of the actors. I think the music and score and everything was great. I enjoyed that. My biggest issue of this movie was the story. It was not for me. It is nothing. I literally found nothing interesting about the story of this movie. It was hard to call it a horror movie. Technically, yes, it has horror elements, so we should call it a horror movie, but it is a stretch. Not only that, though, like you can fall. I could see how some people would enjoy this and fall in love with the main character. She's so beautiful. Like they put her in this red dress in one scene, and I'm like, it's gorgeous. But a lot of the other characters are just really bad people. It's very odd. She's not even good at her job, and yet we're supposed to think it's okay because we're supposed to root for her because she's the lead. I feel like that's kind of weird, and it's very awkward. And it's worse because at the end, they just decide to cut you off, and you're supposed to just move on and be happy with it. And I was not. So while I think this movie is very competent in, in actually producing the film, I think the story is just, it was pretty bad. It was almost horrible for me.
Almost,
if I'm being honest.
horrible.
Yeah. So
Yikes.
I will not watch this movie again. I do not want to watch this movie again. And that is all.
That is all.
Yeah.
All right.
I do not like green eggs in here.
I know. I did
I thinking.
I was trying to figure out how to wrap it up, and I couldn't get there. All right.
Nanny,
Christopher, what's your first impression?
Well, I come into this movie, I keep hearing all this acclaim and praise for it, but this is one of the most boring films I've seen all year long. And I think a lot of it has to do with the pacing. The pace never really picks up. We always make jokes about slow burns. This is a slow drip, which ties into the water imagery that happens in this. And I almost consider this not to be really horror film. The horror film. Well, if you consider having to slog through it to get to the ending, maybe.
That's horror.
But and I hate saying it because I think it. Here's the thing, the funny thing is I always make the point that when you make a horror film, you have to ground it and have elements that characters you care about. And if you take the horror out and the main story is still good, then you've done a good job. Well, this is one of the things I kind of wish the horror had been stripped out of it, because there's elements I would have been more into, like there's this guy that he has an interest in her and she has an interest in him. Those elements were more interesting to me than the whole horror element, because I hate to say it, but I could see what was going to happen a mile away. Mm-hmm. There's really no mystery. I'm sorry. No, it's pretty obvious from the get-go. And then when the horror stuff shows up, it's actually kind of pedestrian. I've seen it done better in other things, like Hannibal, with when you're having mental lapses in water. I mean, I've seen that a million times in the movies. Granted, I don't like spiders, so I didn't like anytime I'd see a spider imagery, but I don't know. I just found it. And then it's like, I felt like they set up all these different things with other characters that don't really go anywhere. Yeah. And then the ending kind of goes somewhere, and then it's like, oh, it's like, and it's like, why did I even watch this whole film? It's like, I think Jordan Peele has ruined us, because films like this make you think there's some underlying. I thought it was going to be some kind of Get Out type twist with other nannies and stuff, and well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but anyway, I thought, this, and it's sad because I want to see these type of stories with different people. I want them to tell these type of stories, but there was just elements of this were just like really painful to watch because it was like I felt like nothing was happening. It almost felt like a documentary at times. A documentary I don't want to like the most boring parts of a documentary.
Wow. Ouch.
And I hate saying that, but because I think I'm not. I think all the performances are great. I think the main actress is great. I want to see her in other stuff, you know. And the boyfriend guy, the guy he had the love interest or whatever. I think he's great too. But I think Michelle, who's in it, is. I mean, you have these other characters that are kind of like just really no. What is the whole point? There's no point to their characters. People. Well, it has nothing to do with bad people. It's just there's. What is the whole point there? Because you almost feel like they're setting him up for something else, and it doesn't go anywhere. So by the end, you feel like, I feel like I've just been drowned in boredom by the end. So I don't know. I did not. I hate saying negative things about it because I think there's elements in here that are good, but overall as a movie, I found it to be very, very kind of like not a lot of interesting things happen in this film.
Not a lot of interesting things happen. Oh my, Jeff! What was your first impression of Nanny?
Well, am I wrong, or is the lead from Us, right? Anna Diop.
Is it? I don't know.
No, that's
no.
That's not.
I mean, she was in Us, but. Yeah, Us is Lupita
Nyong'o.
That's Lupita Nyong'o. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
But she is in.
So yeah, she was in Us. So yeah, I liked her. I'm not quite as harsh as Chris and Crystal, but I see where they're coming from because it is a lot of weird stuff that doesn't necessarily seem connected. I think. And this is in hindsight because I didn't know what was going on as I was watching it. I think you have this immigrant who's in this situation where she feels like she can't, she's not getting paid, and she feels like, I'm not going too far for first impressions, am I?
No, go right ahead.
No. Where she feels like she's not getting paid but can't say anything because she's an immigrant. So, and she has a definite reason for being there. She wants to bring her son and her cousin over. So that's what she wants to save money for. So it's important to her. She's trying not to lose the job, etc. The people she works for, Michelle Monaghan, is an absolute
trainer.
There's something drastically wrong with her. And maybe it's because she has the husband who she has. I don't know. We don't get full behind the scenes look at them. But we do get to see how their interactions affect Aisha. So then there's also this aspect of the supernatural that sort of mends in, and I feel like a lot of these things were like somehow trying to get her a message and give her strength to take action, etc. And I didn't have near the problem with the ending that you guys are talking about. I thought it. I don't want to give spoilers away, but I thought it worked.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, fair enough, Jeff. I guess I'm in Jeff's camp here.
Oh my God!
I actually I mean, I liked elements of this film quite a bit. I like the cast, our leads, off and supporting cast quite a bit. And even Leslie Uggams, who plays boyfriend's mom, the interaction between Aisha and her are really good. I saw a little bit more of the supernatural horror elements into it, or at least I was receiving it that way. I'm still not going to say this is going to be like one of my favorite movies of the year. It was one of the ones that we debated about whether we'd wait to see it to do our top 10s, and because other people have been doing it, putting it in their top 10s, and it's not going to make that cut. But I enjoyed the relationships between her and the characters. Maybe not the characters and other characters like the husband and wife that they were just a mess. But there was always this sense of dread and doom for me watching it, that there was something happening, and she was, she's always struggling with, control, over her finances, people paying her correctly, holding her temper with, the duties that she has, with the child, because when she fails at that, it gets like, what's happening? So there, I enjoyed parts of it, but it's not. I wasn't. While I didn't object to the ending, I still didn't find the film overall satisfying in that respect. So I don't know what I'm saying. I didn't dislike the film, but at the end I was kind of like, well, yeah, okay. Maybe I was a little disappointed because I was hyped up a little bit.
I think this is only because you're a Blumhumper. Because
Is this a Blumhumper?
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Is this a Blumhouse
Jeff,
film?
I made allowances for, because Jeff is Jeff. Jeff likes what Jeff wants. But you, no, sir. No, sir.
I have overstepped my bounds. I mean, it was definitely a character study on our lead, Aisha. What's going on? And I felt that she was haunted. She was being haunted by something that she didn't realize was tragic and was going to haunt her.
Well,
right?
look, honestly, no. Like, really, I got the film. Okay, it wasn't even her being haunted. She has a lot of guilt. A lot of everything that's going on with her is her guilt. She doesn't have her son with her. She's not raising her son. Everything she's doing is trying to get her son to be with her. That's why I forgave her for being a horrible nanny when she wasn't getting paid what she should have been getting paid, because her whole goal was to get her son to be with her. There's a ton of guilt that would go with that. And look, because she didn't have her son with her, he died. I mean, that's like the worst. I mean, I kind of feel like where this film failed is that she should have found out way sooner about her son. And then we should have dealt with that and had more of a close. I still didn't mind the ending, but it goes from like, I'm like, that is weird. That was weird to me. That was I was like, wait, so you take us through this long journey
it's supposed to be like a mic drop, right? It's supposed to be like, oh, crap.
But it wasn't.
I don't think it succeeds as much as it wanted to. Yeah.
At all. Like,
a little
like
bit for me, but not much. Not enough.
You go from this horrible, worst thing that could ever happen to a parent, and then to like, oh, look, happy, another baby is taking the place of another child. Doesn't take the place of your other child. That's not the way it works.
But it obviously didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know
because
that's
when they showed the
what
final
they were
shot.
showing.
Yeah.
No, what I saw was that they were saying that life goes on and she moves on and creates a relationship and a family, but yet there's still this huge sadness in her life as she lays in the fetal position in the tub.
Mm-hmm.
But they used that shot throughout, so I guess as far as a timing issue,
I just felt like they were just using a shot from earlier. It didn't even feel like it was a new shot.
Exactly, that's what.
So
I felt.
to me,
it's
not.
So.
It didn't sell it for me. It just felt like they were just reusing something. So it kind of defeated the purpose of renewal.
So you don't think the character had an arc? Did the character have an arc, or Aisha?
No.
What kind of arc was she supposed to have?
I don't think. I mean, I
she had an arc. She starts out being real timid, and just wanting to, like I said, just wanting to keep this job. And at some point, I think because of the kind of the messages that are getting through to her, or the warnings, or whatever those are through the supernatural things, she figures out she's got to do something about it, even though it ends up being too late.
Yeah.
By holding a knife. By holding a knife to her kid.
Yeah.
Well,
that was excuse me, but
that was just weird.
Obviously that's not what I was talking about.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that to me there was not. It's just like, oh,
well, that was part of the supernatural part of it, the images.
Yeah, but to me it's like you don't really see any kind of change in her. I mean,
I didn't,
because you don't even have time for that, because it just skips over it.
She always was a strong person, and I still feel like she was a way too kind in the way she was talking to these people.
Yeah, I mean, and
Okay,
and
so
to, and I
I
mean,
would
to
be
be
like,
honest,
pay me.
and maybe it's just because I've seen too many films, but I was like automatically, oh, I think maybe her kid's been dead this whole time,
Well,
and
I was too, but
Well,
I was
sure.
trying
she
to
was,
figure out
sure.
how.
and
so.
that would have been more interesting to me than
That's what I'm saying. That's
this,
what I'm
because there's
thinking,
time where
yeah.
she's looking at
Mhm.
videos, and I was like, well, was she actually FaceTiming, or was she just, I think there's things like that. The problem is there's so many better ways they could have told this story that
Well,
would have been more entertaining and
and they-
interesting.
In my mind, I came to a conclusion that might have been, for me, because she was so erratic in her behavior because of the supernatural elements, like the knife and stuff, that I had convinced myself by the time the reveal that she had actually done something bad to her child before.
Well,
but,
well, and I think by her dating the guy whose
Mother.
wife or mother or whatever was schizophrenic, I almost felt like they were going to say that she was schizophrenic
too.
at the end. And
yeah, I thought so too.
And maybe they just do that as sort of like a way
Because
to throw us off the path. But
because there were so many similarities between them, and they,
yeah, because she kept having all these visions and stuff, and so I'm assuming that's probably why they had it in there. But
and she kept saying that you're like me, and have you ever there was always these hints that what you're talking about. Yeah, definitely. I was coming to a false conclusion. So
well, yeah, and I think I don't know. I just felt like she went from sort of like the mousy person to being this angry person by the end. That's like, I don't know. I mean, and the thing is, like, if this had been some kind of like romantic comedy or romantic drama about this woman overcoming, if it'd been a romantic comedy about her meeting this guy, and you have a little bit of the darkness of maybe a loss of a child or whatever. But those are the moments I was more interested in. I was always kind of interested when the guy was involved with things, because he actually brought a spark to the movie that was more interesting and brought out parts of her that I wanted to see. So every time she'd go to do her nanny job, which was always bad. I mean, it's like, what kind of nanny gives food of her own to a kid that she doesn't even know what the kid's allergic to?
She was frustrated with all these.
Okay, but no.
I know that, but you don't give random food to a kid.
She did that before.
She did that when they first met.
Because the kid didn't eat, and
it doesn't.
I know that, but what if the kid had been allergic or had some kind of reaction?
No,
to
well, that's
not
what
her child.
That's what
you
her mom
do what
said, right? That's what.
Yeah, you do. No. That's not the way things work.
Well, I didn't say the way things work. I just said
no. Let me tell you something. You have a nanny. You don't just feed if the mother gives you specific things to do. That's what you should do.
Right.
Yeah. And so
that's a different story.
Yeah. Although they kept doing the shots at the camera, so evidently the mom's probably watching it,
Well, the mom was horrible too. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, the dad was not clearly much.
Well,
better.
their relationship was a train wreck, and he was definitely she was.
Everybody was irresponsible in that household. The nanny, the mom, the dad, they're all irresponsible.
Was he hitting on her, or was that just me injecting?
Well, he kissed
her.
Okay, so he was definitely hitting on her, right?
Did you miss the kiss?
I must have.
Well, what did
maybe?
Did you watch the movie?
I watched the movie. Yes, I know the dress and everything.
What did the wife mean when she whispers at her, "Do me a favor, watch him"? That whatever his name was,
because
I think she knew her
because she knows how bad her husband is. Yeah.
Well, why not? That's just you could have been a lot more succinct, like watch out for him. Or
that's the thing. There's like all these elements that if they'd given more sort of, I mean, they have these brief moments with the characters, and they're really what is their whole point other than maybe to cause some kind of irritation or some kind of confusion. But I feel like there should have been a little bit more stuff involving those people, and that's the thing. By the end, I guess they're trying to focus so much on her character and the supernatural elements and how she sort of like senses that something's happened, or that her son is sort of reaching out and being jealous, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's like so many missing elements with the story, with the script and the storytelling in this that it almost made me kind of irritated by it. And just like she was,
and then I get another. I'm like, okay, so the son is jealous of this little girl and practically almost convinces the mom to like hurt her. What about the new baby? I just don't like and then they just leave everything open. He's going to be fine. He's not going to be jealous of his, another baby. It's just weird. It doesn't, it's not concrete enough for me.
There you go.
There was no resolution to that.
It's not concrete. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
It's,
I don't think
it's very fluid.
It intended to be, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah, but even with artistic films, they may not be concrete, but you need something to like hold on to. Let my feet stand on something at least, and there's just not. And so that's the problem. And then when I thought maybe we had a little concrete, they just ripped it out from underneath me, and I just plummeted.
Like
Well, I thought some of the
Marvel.
vagueness was intended to leave it up to you to interpret in relation to
Yes.
your experience.
Well, sometimes
Are you siding with the nanny or are you siding with the mom? Because the mom was a train wreck. The nanny did stuff she shouldn't have do.
She was a train wreck too.
Yeah,
Well,
there
the
was
mom.
a lot of
Let's
train wrecks.
think about this from the mom's perspective. I don't know what the husband is doing or what his job is or whatever, but we clearly know that she makes all the money.
Yep.
She said all the money is
Yep.
coming
He
from
can't
her.
do things
She has-
without her. Yep.
Yeah, she has all this stress on her for trying to raise the daughter on her own and work this job. And she knows she has a POS husband who's cheated on her and doing all that. It's no wonder why she sits in the shower and cries.
Well,
Mhm.
and then you have the girl's friend who doesn't even tell her kid's dead,
That her
Well, yeah.
cousin.
and her
Yeah.
cousin or whatever, and is willing.
That's
Oh, I'm
the
going to
worst.
fly into America
Because she wanted to come to
And-
America.
Oh,
Yeah, and wasn't
she
even going to
wanted to
confront her.
use
She
her.
snuck around,
come.
right? Yeah.
so
Mhm.
annoying. I mean, there's like so many annoying. Maybe this film's just about annoying people. Maybe that's
Well,
part of it.
Annoying the movie.
I actually don't. I don't know what I would do if I was put in a situation where
You're taking care of somebody's
if
kid.
my existence was terrible and I had a way to get out, and as terrible as I'm going to feel when I have to tell her that her son died,
Yeah,
I will be in America. And
yeah.
So I guess the thing for me is I wouldn't
Selfish,
take on
but, yeah.
someone's child like that. I'm sorry, but I just wouldn't do it. That would never be me. That will never be me. So if you ever have a child, don't come to me because I'm not the person that you want. But if
you would never do what?
I would not
You'd
never
never
take
be
on
the
the
cousin.
child.
She would never.
I
be
would
the cousin.
never take
It's
someone's child.
one person at a time.
Yeah, I
Crystal?
would
Oh.
never. I would never be the caretaker. I would never take someone's child. I
Oh,
would never
okay.
do that.
So
And if you are going to do that, I mean, you better hope that that person is a good person. I think I get what Jeff's saying, but God, how could you? I could never. How could you do that? How could you not tell her and then use her to
Well-
get out of the situation after what happened?
She
No.
is also
Well, and
family. She is also family.
Right. And I'm not
and
saying
we don't know how close or not close. the
I don't
family is.
So
care.
here's what
It's fine.
with what's gone on in the country in the last 5 years,
Fair enough. I get that. Mm-hmm.
and with enough of the stuff that I've read about, watched a lot of things about Nazi Germany in relation to the last 5 years. People do shit all the time that you can't figure out. That in my mind I would never do, but yet I don't know. If I was in a certain situation, I really don't know what I would do when I finally got like to the end of my rope, or was worried about I would die if I didn't do this, that kind of thing. I hope I would stand up, but I just think people do shit all the time that they don't think they would do and don't even realize it. People get marched down the street in these this is I should stop because this is off subject of the movie, but you're asked to make little accommodations. Pretty soon you're full-fledged illegal BS.
Yeah.
And we find out about it and we're thinking, why the hell didn't they quit their job? Where's your morals? And it doesn't happen that way. That's why there's so few whistleblowers. So anyway, related back to the movie, I'm not going to, I don't know what the cousins feels like. It's absolutely terrible that she didn't tell her about her son.
That's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. That's why it's tragic.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the only current sort of underlying theme throughout is you have these people who keep in their own issues keep putting stuff off. Like, you have the mom, the mother of the young girl keeps putting off paying her, and you have the dad who keeps, has his own kind of issues and not dealing a lot of the issues in the home. And you have this mom who keeps having issues trying to get her kid. And so you have all these different things, and you realize putting that stuff off can just cause more issues. Although I just see that little girl kid blackmailing her. It's like, am I going to tell my mommy that you held a knife to me in the bathtub?
Actually, that little girl was actually she was actually a really pretty good kid. I mean, I know she threw this stuff down, but she did get down and start. She felt bad, and she's trying to be good. Oh God, broke my heart actually when she went to see. As a character study, I see this, and I see that some people could like this. I just don't like that they just left. They just. I feel like they just effed us.
Well, it's there's just a lot of missing elements that don't.
Well, and people
well.
did that in the, giving their kids up. People did that at the beginning of World War II. I know that's an easy example, but Jewish parents sent their kids off with no real knowledge of where they were going to end up just to get them the hell out of the country. And they may or may not have paired up with relatives or when they got to the U.S., if they paired up, how that worked out. But their main thing was, so
she didn't do that. She came on her own. She left her child behind. She did the opposite.
She did. Well, I guess she should have used her money and sent them over to the U.S.
Well, but I think everybody was sort of doing they were focusing on the wrong things in their life. Like the mom was focusing on her work. The dad was focusing on other women. And then she was focusing on someone else's child instead of her own. So everybody's sort of focusing on the wrong thing.
What kind of part of
right.
That's probably the main theme of it.
All right. Well, that sounds like
it's easy to get distracted.
That sounds like a good time to wrap this up and give our final thoughts and our score. No final thoughts. We've done enough final thoughting.
Yeah.
Let's do 1 to 5 score and our favorite scene. Crystal, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I'm going to give it a 2.5 because it's competently made, but hated the story. I can't give it any higher. I would not recommend it to any of my friends. If I did, they'd come and murk me in my sleep.
Murk you!
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite scene is so I did like this one horror element. I liked the pool. I liked the mermaid, the siren. I mean, some of the CGI on it was bad, but I like what they did with the eyes. I thought she looked pretty cool. I mean, I like mermaids. I especially like dark mermaids. I think another good, like, beautiful creatures kind of thing. Pretty cool. Okay, that's it.
Right.
Done.
Jeff, you're next. Your score 1 to 5. Your favorite scene.
Oh, I thought Chris was next.
I shifted it.
All right, that's fine. I'm
like the movie.
I'm waffling. I'm waffling here. I'm going to go 3. I was thinking about 3.25, but I can't quite go there because it is pretty muddy what's going on. But I do believe, we're not doing final thoughts. So final scene, I liked it when she finally tells the employer she needs to get paid, and they say, "Oh, well, I'll give you an advance." And she goes, "No, it's not an advance. It's what you owe me now."
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
That was where she finally drew a line in the sand and was like, "We're not playing this game anymore."
Yep. She definitely did not like the mother after that time. All right, Christopher, your score, your favorite scene.
Take out the horror. It might be a better film, but still, it's has very waterlogged pacing. I'll give this a 2.25 out of 5. And as for favorite scene, I'm going to say when she runs into that guy in the street and they have that sort of cute meet up in the street, that I thought, if this film had been more that realm, I would have enjoyed this film tons better. But because it's not all about that, I did not. So yeah, that's my favorite scene.
I didn't recognize him right away.
There you go.
I'm like, who's this guy talking to?
Oh,
yeah,
there was a
okay,
doorman or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the 3 1/4 there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I thought you would like it more than me. To me, I liked it because of the characters, not necessarily the story. And that's also going to be my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when Aisha is talking to Kathleen. Kathleen is Leslie Uggams' character, the mom, who is, I think you said she was schizophrenic, right, Crystal? But those scenes were...
Well, no, she
No,
was the grandmother.
The grandmother.
His
The grandmother.
mother,
The one in
who
between
passed
was
away,
schizophrenic.
was-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he
okay.
skipped
Gotcha.
generations,
Yes.
so.
Yes. Thank you for clearing that up because I was a little confused. But I liked that character and I liked their interactions because it threw a lot of aspects about what was happening out into it from this other person's perspective. And I for me, that brought depth to it. And I just really liked those scenes. There was like two, maybe 3 scenes with the 2 of them together. Maybe one of them was with all of them, right when they first show up and meet. But she kept going back to her, talking to her, and I don't know. I liked it.
I did like the grandmother a lot.
Yes,
She's very likable. Yeah.
the Uggams.
Yeah, again, those
Leslie
are the more
Uggams
interesting
is
parts.
Leslie
great
Uggams is awesome. I mean, she's in stuff now, but back in the 70s, she was a it woman. She was
Definitely.
I mean,
I thought I recognized her.
she's good looking now, but man, she was hot stuff in her younger age. So
I don't
Well,
know
she
if
she was
but-
she was CRISPR. She was Blind Al in Deadpool. So
Yeah.
What?
that's the roommate, Deadpool's roommate. The one
Oh, okay.
Right. yes.
Got-
But she
oh,
was-
yeah. I thought I recognized her from something, so
But
that makes sense.
She's Kizzy in Roots. Roots is probably where most people are. Anyway, I'll shut up. There you go. That's our review of Nanny. Not going to be in our top 10. We'll just drop that bomb right there.
And it doesn't have Fran Drescher in it.
No.
No, it
all
does
right. We hope you
Mr.
enjoyed our.
Sheffield.
Please leave your comments down below. You can tell us how right or wrong we are. We don't care. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the movie as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Crystal, Christopher, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And I didn't think we would talk 40 minutes about this movie. But that's awesome.
Me neither, honestly.
Well,
I thought this is
me
going to be
too.
a slam dunk.
We are very opinionated at times.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
enjoyed the conversation. It was great. It was great
Yeah.
bringing all these elements out. So thank you all very
Yeah.
much.
Mhm. It
No
helped
problem.
work
All right.
through my anger.
All right. Say goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
good night.
Gruesome Magazine.